I remember loving football from day one. I wrote this a long time ago. I don't know how old I was. I hope someday I will be on a real football team. I'm Katie Sowers, offensive assistant coach for the San Francisco 49ers.
Bring it up! Bring it up!
I always knew I wanted to be a coach. My dad was a coach. I never saw an opportunity in football because I'd never seen a female coach before.
Let's run it again! Run it again! Let's go!
People tell me that people aren't ready to have a woman lead, but these guys have been learning from women their whole lives. Moms, grandmas, teachers.
Then the trouble comes as a first read.
We have all these assumptions about what women do in life and what men do.
I'm glad my daughter's old enough to see this and understand how significant it is.
I'm not trying to be the best female coach. I'm trying to be the best coach.
Here we go! Exactly!
All it takes is one. All it takes is one, and then it opens the door for so many.
Good morning. Today is Super Bowl weekend, Saturday, February 1, 2020. I had planned to actually do 2 days leading up to tomorrow's Super Bowl. First, I was going to introduce you to one player on the Kansas City Chiefs, Rashad Fenton, and then the next day, tomorrow, do Robert Saleh, Dearborn's own, one of the hottest head coaching candidates in the NFL. But then this morning, as I was preparing for this show, I saw a small story hidden deep in the AP wires about Katie Sowers, trailblazer, as the first woman coach at the Super Bowl. And I thought, no, stop everything. I changed all my plans, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So, I don't know if you've heard of her or if you know about her, but you're going to find out about her tomorrow during the Super Bowl. Katie, like Robert Saleh, as you'll learn more about in my podcast tomorrow, injuries ended her playing career in the Women's Football Alliance and for USA Football's national team. She arrived in San Francisco in June 2017 and began working as a wide receivers, with the wide receivers, She'd been hired as an offensive assistant in 2018. That's just 1 year after Robert Saleh joined that team. Of course, the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl tomorrow. But since then, it's only been 2 years. She's gone from breaking down film and working on practice scripts to helping wide receivers and offensive coaches. In her quote, she does talk about she wants to be not just a woman coach, but the best coach. And of course, she has her eyes on being a head coach. But reaching the Super Bowl tomorrow included a 30-second Microsoft commercial, which you just heard at the opening of this podcast. That same spot aired during the NFL's conference championships. And tomorrow, on Sunday, February 2, during the Super Bowl, a new 60-second commercial will air during the Super Bowl where Microsoft will thank Katie Sowers for being the first woman coach at the Super Bowl. Now, as a woman, of course you know that I care about women breaking glass ceilings and advancement in the workplace. And since I try to touch on career and looking at jobs that you might want and dreams that you might have had that you never pursued, I wanted to share with you that, like her father, who set an example to her because she wanted to be like a coach. And of course, she knew she wasn't a man, but that didn't stop her. I also looked up to my father. He was a hardworking engineer. I wanted to be like my father, not an engineer so much. I wasn't good at math, but I liked the work ethic that he brought. He worked 6 days a week. He took Sundays off. Today, he's 89 and he still works. He gets up every day before 5 o'clock in the morning, as we all do in our home. And he goes to work and he helps my brother in his business. Having a life work is so important because it's not about a job. It's not about chasing the money. It's not, as my father once told us, putting food on the table and paying the bills. And I'm going to talk more about, chasing money versus chasing your dreams. She did what she wanted to do. She didn't let anybody tell her she couldn't do it. That's what I love about this story. Now, I'm going to talk to you more about two other players just to have balance in my reporting because, as you know, in our industry, sometimes we don't always get all sides of a story, and I like to be balanced. I like to be objective. And I love how we have these backstories, especially when it comes to sports. And like when we have the Olympics, we'll have pre-recorded segments where they'll go behind the scenes, they will have visited their hometowns, and they'll introduce more about the players. And that's kind of what the theme I want this weekend to be. Learning more about who the players are, because in sports, we always look up to them. We even use those metaphors in business about the practice, every day getting up. And I thought about that this morning as I got up and I was preparing my tea and just getting ready for this broadcast of what it must be like for someone who is an athlete or his coach to prepare every day and go through the rituals. And then the final day comes and it's make it or break it. But it's not all about that day because they live it their whole life. And that's how you should. You don't have to be a star on TV in the NFL like these great players and coaches are today. Every day you should wake up to do the best that you can in your job. It doesn't matter whether you're a receptionist, whether you're, working in the cleaning crew or a security guard, or you're the CEO or the head of Ford Motor Company. You have to be the best at what you do because if you don't do that, you're not going to advance. And again, thinking about mindset, these people have made it to the top of their game because they believed in themselves. You have to do the same. Belief in oneself is more important than any of the chatter that your mind is going to come at you with or anyone else is going to come at you with. You have to know that when life throws you a curve or you somehow have a knockout and something happens in your life, that you have to make a decision of where to go from there. These people, they've had knockouts. They're rags to riches stories. They are, in an industry that is littered with money. And, initially I had thought about doing coverage about the commercials on Super Bowl because coming from an advertising background, that is something that everybody talks about. Number one, having the best that you can, how much each spot costs, the amount of people that are going to see it. And, just commercials are so important, just as the game is. So I thought about it and I said, no, commercials, nah, I'm not interested in that. There's just too many factors that are in play that are going to happen with this Super Bowl that I just wanted to share with you. So I know you might think that a Dearborn girl is not a football fan, but believe it or not, I do like sports. I like playing them more than watching them, but when it comes to the big game, yes, I'm going to watch it. I understand sports. I love football more than basketball and in, baseball. But I don't know. I just feel that football is just, it's exciting. It's just, it's fast. It's, I mean, it's team sports, but it's also individual sports. And I love the style of the players that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. And I'll talk to you more about Robert Sala, who is a Dearborn native, attended Fortson High School. He didn't go to my high school. I'm from Etzel Ford, but my mom did attend Fortson. And so we're all rooting for him here in the hometown of Henry Ford. And we can't wait for the big game. But more about him in my next podcast. And I just want to do a shout out to GiGi. She followed in her father's footsteps, Kobe Bryant. We will remember them tomorrow on their 1 week passing in the plane crash. She did not let anything hold her back. When people went to Kobe and asked him, why don't you have another child so you can have a boy to carry on your legacy? GiGi stepped in and she said, I got this.